Hi everyone, and welcome to the Say As It Is with Pete podcast series. I'm Pete, your host, and each week I will bring you some frank and honest conversations covering various topics from learning and development, apprenticeships, funding, HR, strengths, recruitment, ESG, well-being, ED&I, employability, and much, much more. So let's get this week's episode underway and say as it is. Welcome to part 3 of work experience. So just to recap the other 2 episodes. So the first episode was about DWP's work experience, explaining the 1 week, 6 weeks and the swap 12 weeks work experience that is on offer by DWP and my thoughts and feelings, but also that honest conversation around for employers and potential candidates, or as DWP likes to call them, customers. Hate that word. And then the second part of this work experience mini series for season 5 was on, meaningful work experience and how employers can create meaningful work experience. And then this episode 3 about work experience, is around the candidate, not the customer, the candidate doing the work experience, and the best ways to get what you can from work experience itself. So kind of the prep that is probably good to do, what you can do when you're there and what you can do kind of afterwards. So it's a bit like a story. There's a start, there's a middle, and there's an ending. But the ending isn't necessarily the ending, it's a potential chapter. So the one thing that you've got to think about in this work experience for candidates is that you're getting an opportunity to do work experience, no matter whether that's the week, whether that's the 6 weeks, or whether that's the 12 weeks. So the best way to look at this is when you are potentially going on your work experience, and this also goes for the school kids that are about to go on that a journey with their school to do a week or 2 weeks work experience. Again, this can apply to you as well. But what you want to do is you've got to research who you're doing the work experience with, or where you're going to do your work experience. The thing you can do is go on LinkedIn, search for the company, see who works in the company, and then click the links, link through, because LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media platforms they're on, which you can go by their website to access them as well, go to their company webpage probably first of all. Have a look around about us, meet the teams, what they do, the products, the services, things like that. Then go and look at all their social media as well, and look over the last kind of 3 months or so to see what they've been up to. Look at their ESG, look at the human trafficking policy, those kind of things. Get a real broad overview of the company and what it does. And a lot of companies produce corporate responsibility reports, so you could look at what that says and gain some information. And it's not for you to have to know the whole company inside out, but it's nice to go in with a little bit of knowledge and understanding of the business when you get there. So you might see people walking around. So I remember doing a video for a training provider I did years and years ago, and it was about hospitality, and I've still got the video. And when I look back at it now, I think, oh my god, is that what I look like? But that video was used internally and externally, and people used to, when they would come to the head office, and if I was there, or they would have a new tutor come, they'd be like, "You're that guy from the video. I've seen you. You're Peter. You're the one." And I'm like, "The one what? What are we doing?" But yeah, I was the one in the video. I'm the one that was in the company videos, which was great. But people would recognise you. And it was great, because I'd be like, "Oh yeah, great. Hi, good to meet you. No idea who you are, but yeah, great." But for that individual, for myself, it was great because I was recognised, but also it was great to see that somebody had seen that video before coming to the company. So it's always good to do those things where you as a potential candidate, or you are a candidate, you're going for your work placement or work experience, you're researching about the company, looking at what they've got, their social media, all those kind of things, gaining that insight, having a little bit of an understanding, see where all they're located around the world or around the UK or wherever they may be, seeing who works for the company via LinkedIn and the About Us and Team kind of thing, and get that oversight. Because when you go on site as a candidate, you can wow the potential employer by saying things that you know of, or I heard you did a charity event for cancer research, or I heard you do a charity event for this charity, and you did a fun run recently. That sounds really cool. If I was to join, can I get involved in things like that? And they'd be like, oh god, yeah, of course you would. How did you know that? And you go, I looked at your social media. So it goes to help, or goes to show that if you do your research first of all, it really, really helps. Again, you're not going to know everything about the company inside out. I don't expect you to do a full research and come up with this whole presentation and pack on what you've learned about the company. No, make some notes, remember people's names if you can, or go, I think I've seen you before. I saw you on LinkedIn. Go, oh yeah, did you work in finance? I don't expect you to know everything, but just a little bit of research can go a long way. That's what I'm saying, right? So go to the website, research their social media, their LinkedIn, have a good look around, get to know the company before you go. Then when you're there, go in with an open mindset, and go in with a mindset of a pathway of possibility, not a pathway of limitation of like, I don't think I can do that. I ain't going to do that. That's too complicated. I can't even work like that. I'm not doing these hours. No, because you're not going to stand a chance if you go in that attitude. Going with that option of, so what are the hours? Okay, so you can start at this time. Is there flexibility if there ever was? And okay, so what does a job entail? Can you show me everything? They may not be able to show you everything, but you might say, so what are the kind of key things you need to know in the job? Like, if I was to come work in your department, what things should I be aware of, or what things do you expect somebody to know or be knowledgeable at before working in the department? Ask questions. You could be working in HR, you could be working in recruitment, you could be working in operations, you could be working anywhere within the organisation, marketing, wherever. And if employers listen to the last episode about meaningful work experience and really make it engaging, then there's a lot to be done. But you can ask questions, and the people that you're placed with who are going to let you shadow them and have a chance at doing something, ask them for feedback, ask them questions. It's experience. Ask them, can I have a go at doing that, or do you have something similar I can have a go at doing? Or could you give me, or could I look at doing it as well? So I know you're doing it, but can I do it? And then you give me feedback on if it would be acceptable or not. Like same with an email. Okay, that you just say to them, like, can I write the email and then you tell me what you think? And I go, okay, yeah, great. Or be open to them and say, would you do this any other way? Or do you use AI at all? Or just lots of different things. And that could be from two sides really, but what I'm trying to say is, as a candidate or a potential employee of that company going on the work experience, ask questions. Go in with, you don't have to pre-plan questions, you can go in with some pre-planned questions, but during your week and during your shadowing, ask questions, find out more, and just say, what is it like in a day in a life? So what do you do from 9 till 5:30 in this role? What's the requirements of somebody working in this department? What do you have to do? Is it like monthly reports or something you have to do? Just go to meetings? Ask all these questions. Do you go to events? What kind of events do you go to? And what other things can you do within the department? And do you link in with other departments? And how do you link in with them? Ask these questions, because it shows that you're taking an interest and you're wanting to learn and grow with the experience. Now, knowledge comes with experience, and listen, even in my role and what I do in the wonderful world of HR, L&D and training, the lovely rainbow department, as people like to call it. No, it's not a rainbow department, it's a freaking nightmare. It's like a bloody morgue, because there's so many bloody disciplinary grievances and all sorts going on. It's a nightmare. And with all the employment law changes, mama freaking mia. It's a department that is nuts right now. But anyway, I'm digressing slightly, but as a potential employee, because the idea of work experience is at the end of that work experience, if you've shown that you're engaged, you're interested, you're wanting to learn, you wanted to have a go at something, you are willing to learn as much as you can, that's great, because it's a willing to learn. Yeah, because experience comes with time. And as I say, in my role, it's ever dynamic and ever changing. There's always things I'm learning new every single day. Okay, so I don't know everything, and I'm still learning, which is good. And that's the point of me working in L&D, right? Because we're always continuously learning. So, even ask them, like, if I was to come in the company, could I do an apprenticeship? Is there apprenticeships available in this department? What's my career progression if I was to come? Ask these questions, because employers want to see somebody that's engaged and wanting to grow and develop with them, not someone that's going to sit there and go, okay, so what was that again? So do you have any questions, Pete? No. Okay, so you're okay with what you're seeing? Yeah, I guess. So no questions then? No. It's alright. It's not what employers want to hear. It's just disengaged there completely. Like, Pete's not interested. Should Pete really be doing the work experience? Well, Pete's here, so we've got to deal with him, right? But listen, as a potential candidate, you've got to think that if you've done your kind of pre-research before coming to the organisation, and you kind of had a look at LinkedIn, social media, their website, all those kind of things, got a little bit of grounding, a little bit of understanding, you come in, you're asking questions about career pathways, growth, apprenticeships, what you can do, asking questions like, what's it actually like to work in this department? What's the requirement for me in my role if I was in the department, or what other roles are in the department? And can I move to any of those roles or experience any of those roles? Because that's what you want to do, right? You want to try and experience more and gain more from it. So ask those questions, but also ask if there's going to be like a weekly, daily, or end of work experience check-in. Because the idea is with these work experience placements that are coming up, if you're coming from a school and doing 2-week work placement, you're not necessarily going to get a job at the end of it. And that's reality. But what you can do is in that week or 2 weeks work experience you're doing with an employer as part of your career opportunity within your school, you can ask, so from doing this, and this goes for the other ones as well, is what kind of skills and stuff I've got to put on my experience, on my CV to show that I've had experience in this 2-week work placement? How would you put that on a CV? Can you help me? But if I was to come and interview here, or interviewing similar roles, what's the best advice you can give me? Do you have examples of interview questions I can take? Could we do a mock interview maybe? So ask these kind of questions, but if you're doing the work experience from Patrick McFadden, which is the 1 week paid at national minimum wage that we discussed in episode 1, or you're doing the 6-week unpaid work experience from DWP, or you're doing those, then the week one is a tough one. So you've got to try and get as much as you can in before the end of the week, because the idea at the end of the week, you really want to shine and get a guaranteed interview at the end, potentially get a job. And that's the same with the 6 weeks unpaid. You really want to get involved, show you're keen and willing, because if you do like the company and you do want to get a job, then the idea is they need to give you a guaranteed interview at the end, and you want to pass that interview at the end. So excel yourself, sell yourself, because especially with work experience, like interviews and things, you need to sell yourself so you get the job. Yeah, never sell yourself short, always sell yourself. And then when it comes to the swap, obviously with the swap, as we discussed in episode 1 of this 3-episode series, with the DWP thing, the swap program is either a week, or it could be 3 weeks or 4 weeks classroom learning. So gain as much as you can from that 4 weeks. And then the 6 weeks placement, do everything you can to show that you want the job, because again, ask those questions, research everything, and then when you get to the end of the 6 weeks, there should be a guaranteed interview. It's only an interview. It's not a guaranteed job. It's just an interview. And if you can get past that interview and get a job, perfect. If not, do say to them, if I'm not successful, could you give me feedback, please? As I would really validate your feedback, as it would help me in future job interviews. And some employers will actually do that. Some may not, but in these kind of experiences, employers would. And you can even ask at the interview, how did I interview? Because if you say any questions, yeah, actually, how do you think I interviewed for this position? Put them on the spot. Ask those questions. So what will my salary be? What's my career progression and growth within the organisation? Am I entitled to do an apprenticeship once I've joined the organisation? What's my pay rise structure like over the next 3 years? Is it a minimum pay rise, or do we have KPIs? What's the productivity requirement for me in my role? All these questions you probably think I'm not going to ask an interview because they're probably thinking I'm crazy. These are actually good questions to ask, because you've got to remember, when you get to that interview stage, you've done either a week or you've done 6 weeks work experience, and you've seen all these departments, you've seen everything. So a good time is to then sit there and figure out what questions you want to ask, okay, or highlight a certain department that you're interested in. But also, don't go into that interview like trying to put their organisation to rights and tell them how to run their business and tell them what's actually required, because that's a bit rude for a candidate to go in. Very ballsy, must admit. Sometimes I do like it, but if they go in and say, well, I've worked here for 6 weeks, and during my experience, this is what I've experienced, and this is what I think you should do, and this is where you're failing the employees, and this is what I think you're doing wrong, and you need to do more of this. Okay, we ask you to come for work experience, potential work guarantee, to guarantee you a job interview and potentially offer you a job as an employee of the future here, but obviously you're more on the bridge of telling us what to do and where we're failing as an organisation, although we love that. But this is an interview, it's not, a consultation period or a consultancy. I didn't employ you, we didn't ask you to come as a consultant, we asked you to come as a potential employee. So just be very mindful on how you approach your feedback in an interview or your questions in an interview. But don't be afraid to ask those questions like, what's holiday? What's my career progression? What's the productivity requirement for me in that role? How would, if I was successful, which department would I be working in or applying for here? What's my holiday entitlement? Ask all those questions, okay? Because asking those questions in the interview is really good. You may have asked some of those questions during your work experience and you've already got the answers, so not too bad. But it's also a nice time to thank the employer for that chance, that opportunity to do the work experience and gain some new knowledge, skills and behaviours, and then potentially have a job with the company if you're successful. If not, thank them. And say you'll wait their outcome. You get their outcome, happy days, you get a job. But if not, don't worry, put it on your CV and show it as work experience, and list the kind of skills that you learned from doing that. Luckily, ChatGPT is great because you can put in what you did over the week or 2 weeks or 6 weeks, and then say, what knowledge, skills and behaviours would I have learned from this job that I can, create to add to my CV, or how can I add this work experience to my CV? And it will give you a hint or give you a response that you could probably use on your CV to update it. But yeah, look, the point of this is, if you're a candidate going for work experience, whether it's from your school placement where you need to get 2 weeks work experience, whether it is your 1 week work experience through Paddy McFallon's real amazing work experience paid for 1 week, or whether it's your 6 weeks work placement or your 12 weeks swap and work placement, whatever one you're on, get the best from it, get what you can. As I say, research before you go, find information about the organisation, because organisations really love that when you are mentioning things that you've seen or heard about them. Don't go in dictating to them what you expect. Remember, this is an opportunity that they're giving you. But also during that time as well, learn everything. Ask questions. Always ask questions. No matter how silly you think the question is, ask it. And ask them to give you feedback as well. If someone's working on something, ask if they haven't really created much of a meaningful work placement. Ask, I see you've been working on this project. Can I have a go at it? Or I can see you're responding to that email. And I see you do that yesterday. Can I have a go and then give you what I would have written and see if that's acceptable? Or could I have a go at doing something similar? Do you have something I could work on? And maybe you can view it. You never know, because these people, employers, are potentially great at what they do, and you might be great at what you do. And sell yourself. So as a candidate, sell yourself. And I think I've gone a bit of a tangent between mixing a little bit of employer expectations and a little bit of candidate expectations of what you should do. So it's a bit of a mind-boggling thing, and I think I've gone off on a tangent, so I do apologise. But the main thing, guys, is research the company, show your willingness to learn new knowledge and skills and new behaviours. Aim is to get that guaranteed interview at the end, so work through it to get that guaranteed interview. Have that interview. If you were not successful, don't let it knock you because you stuck the ground and you did the work placement. Take that, pop it into ChatGPT and ask it what you can do to add it to your CV, or how could you add it to your CV in the right way, showing the knowledge, skills and behaviours that you've learned over that time, and then place it on there. Happy days. And then that should show that you've got some experience. But also reach out, people reach out to employers and say, look, I know you may not have jobs available, but I'd love to come and do some work experience with you. What do you have? Can I do that? And in some employers will do it, and some cases it is unpaid. Some cases it might be paid, but 10 to 1 it's going to be unpaid work experience, whether it be for a week or something. I know there's this thing called internships, and internships are very dark and dingy kind of thing for me. Whether it be they are paid or unpaid, everything should be paid in my eyes, never unpaid. But if they do work experience, you do work experience and it is unpaid, but you are there for a couple of weeks and it gives you a little bit of overview and oversight, perfect. But again, research is key. Don't go to the employer and dictate how they should do things. Please don't do that, because that will burn your bridge. Turn up for work on time every day, because that shows your punctuality and timekeeping is great. When you go for lunch, make sure you come back on time. And remember, I know that some of you have probably not been in work before or for a long time, or maybe that's your first work experience, but treat it with some respect. Yeah, have a work ethic, and that work ethic is getting up on time, getting to work on time, being productive, being polite and friendly, and getting your job done. And we're not asking, the work ethic isn't that you start super early, you stay super late, you've got to get this done, no, still have a work-life balance. But as a candidate, show your willingness to learn. So if you're due to start at 9, come in for 8:30. Shows you're keen and willing. If you've got a half-hour lunch, go for the half-hour lunch, but make sure you're back on time. Yeah. If you're running late to get to work one day for your placement, ask who you would contact. Say, if I'm running late because of public transport buses, who do I need to call to let them know that I'm running late? How do I do that? Then that shows that you're willing to learn. And also say, if I'm sick at all during the work placement, what's the process? Who do I call and who do I notify? And do I need to notify the day before, or how do I do it? Find out all this information, because as I know it does probably look good when you're saying, so how do I call in sick and who do I call when I'm running late? Just say that you want to be open, honest and transparent, and that you know that they may be key values for an organisation, but it's important for you to know, so that if you were to ever have an issue, you know who to contact, because the only person's details you have would be either the person that's put your work placement or your work coach, and they're not very helpful. But I didn't say that. So anyway, listen guys, I hope this podcast has helped you in understanding how to get the best out of your work placement. Remember, do your little bit of research, go in with a positive mindset, go on the pathway of possibility, not the pathway of limitation, and always think positive, because this is an experience where you're going to learn some extra knowledge, skills and behaviours. It's going to help put it on your CV to show that you do have some experiences and the departments that you have gained that experience in, even though if it's for a week, or whether it's 2 weeks, or whether it's been for 6 or 12 weeks, because it all counts to go on your CV. So yes, good luck. I hope this podcast has helped you in some way, although it has gone off on a little bit of a tangent, which I really didn't want it to do, but it did, and I'm sorry. But hey, this is the point of having an honest, frank conversation, right? That's what the Say As It Is with Pete podcast is about. So guys, thank you for listening. I hope you found this useful. If you haven't already, go back and listen to episode 5 and 6 around work experience for DWP, and then the meaningful work placements. And then obviously you've got this one in that little mini series. And there's a few more series or a few more episodes to go until we get to episode 10. And then once we end episode 10, we will be jumping on to season 6. Yes, season 6. I'm keeping the seasons down to 10 episodes. or it gets too confusing. So yes, we are now on episode 7. So 3 more episodes before we close down season 5. But again, guys, thank you for listening. Keep listening, keep sharing, keep liking. And if you have any questions, queries, reach out to me. Or if you ever want to be on one of these episodes, then do let me know so I can link you in and get you involved. So until the next episode, enjoy your week, your weekend, your bank holiday, wherever you are. Enjoy your day.